Hello, everybody, and welcome back to just a Discord chat with. And today it's time for another episode, and I'm super happy because I've been wanting to do an episode with Mr. Maxter here for quite some time, and here he is. And so I'm gonna showcase my Spanish skills. Maximiliano Gonzalez, is that
Juliana
correct? Yeah,
Gonzalez,
yeah.
exactly.
It's a pretty hot,
Eh,
pretty cool name. Welcome, by
Yeah,
the way.
well, thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity, by the way.
Yeah.
I've been watching this series since you started. It's really interesting to know a little bit deeper all the players. So this is an interesting series. And by the way, with the Spanish, it's something interesting about people that they are not like native Spanish speakers, that they tend to say my name like with an Italian accent somehow. It's like it's Maximiliano Gonzalez, but you say like Maximiliano Gonzalez.
Yeah.
It's like some weird thing, but it's not only you. It happens to everyone here in Denmark as well. They say it that way. It's like why you add the accent, but they just think it that way.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird, but it's like something to do with accents, maybe. Just maybe Italian is like a little closer to the Nordic languages. I don't know.
I mean, actually, it's the well, since they have a Germanic language, they are really familiar with the name Maximilian. But
Yeah.
actually, what it happens really often is that when they read my name, they just cut the O at the end and they say Maximilian. No, 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 it's Maximiliano. And it's like, right, you have to read in the Spaniard or the Spanish in the Spanish way. And they're like, okay, okay, and that's the way they approach it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the cool part about coming to a new country. Maybe just seeing how people react to something different. But yeah, super nice to have you here. I'm really happy, and pretty much the first question I always ask, which is I think is a good opener, is how are you in general? How is life? And yeah, how's life?
Uh, Oh, good. To be honest, I mean, I'm in a new country, as you already said. I arrived here in December. It's been a little bit hard to adapt in the beginning because there are a lot of things that are really unfamiliar for me because the system, how it works in Argentina, is totally different than it is here in Denmark. So just to adapt to it and the amount of paperwork that you have to do at the beginning, things that okay, when you have to immigrate, it, it is like that for most of people, you know. I mean, you have to struggle just to just be out of your country, imagine getting in a new one. So at the beginning it was like a little bit rough, but now it's like the fifth month that I'm here. We are here actually with my fiance and our cats, so we are really good right now.
Okay, nice to hear. Cats. Did you bring the cats from Argentina or?
Yeah, we bring the cats from Argentina. I mean, they are like our child, like our children, you know. I mean, we weren't like thinking about just leave them there. They were coming with us,
Yeah.
and we did everything that we needed to just bring them with us. I mean, I understand the stress that the cats only had to just go through. Imagine ourselves like we were just trying to get you have to get the tickets for the cats. You have to get the vaccines, their documents, everything for them, and as well accommodations as well. Because when we arrived, we came to an Airbnb first in Copenhagen, now in Aarhus, where we are, and you have to be in a place where they allow pets, things like that. You gotta be like. Really careful that they don't drop anything because they are cats and they are really curious, and it's like the whole time being just too stressed about it. But it was just only the beginning. I knew that it was going to be that way, and well, after all, we are just living like we like to. Like we are like a peaceful in a peaceful house with our cats enjoying our family, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost harder to bring animals than bring people.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's a lot of regulations, but understandably so. I mean, it's like, and you touched on it a little bit, but I think it's interesting because I can assume that Argentina is it's like I said, kind of different from Denmark. How have these five? You touched on it a little bit, but how have these 5 months been for you? mentally, and your fiance, like to to sort of convert from one culture, I suppose, or at least one sort of society to another one?
I think the biggest thing was when we arrived. So just put it this way, this is just a cultural thing, not like a regulation or things like that. In terms of culture, when we arrived, it was Christmas. We arrived in December 25th.
Okay.
And of course, the way that it is in Argentina, of course, in Argentina is summer when it is holidays. You know? And we came here, it was winter, and we were trying to get something like a meal for New Year's Eve, and we were like, they were getting dinner around 5 6 p.m. and we were like thinking because like, if you are familiar to the Spanish culture or the Latino culture, we ate around 10 p.m. And that's what was the first thing that we were like struggling at the beginning because it was like we don't have like we didn't have any sunlight at the beginning. It was like 5 p.m. It was already night, and we were like, okay, but it's time for a coffee, something like that. It was 5 p.m. It was time for a coffee, and suddenly we needed to run for the to the store because we knew that at the time that we needed to get dinner, everything was going to be closed. And at the time that we came out as well, the coronavirus was a really not a huge thing, but it was a thing yet here. I mean, if you read the news about this country or you are familiar with the news about this country, there is no COVID at all since February here. Not like there are no cases. It's like the government just decided to just there is no more COVID anymore. So at the beginning, everything was so close, and we didn't know anyone here. So it's like you need to do a lot of things or get help for some things, and like at the beginning, it's like the system here in Denmark, it doesn't allow you to just get through it without the paperwork that you need. In Argentina, it's totally different. It's not like you need a ton of things before getting into the system. You can actually work with the system. Like if you need to just use your currency, you can do it. Like I mean, you can actually use dollars and exchange them to Argentinian pesos. And here was a little bit different because if you didn't have cash, for us being Argentinians, something interesting here, you can't move your dollars from your bank account in Argentina to another account outside the country if it is not on your name. So imagine how it is. You can't transfer like, for example, imagine that I buy you, no, I buy something from you, and I need to just make a wire transfer, and you give me like an IBAN or IBAN number,
Mm.
and there isn't such thing for Argentinians. You can't do something like that. So imagine how it was for me to just pay the rent at the beginning because there is no such thing. So I was struggling just to make those things in order to just begin, like at the beginning, just living here, like you rent an apartment and you have to pay the landlord, but you can't do it because you can't move the money from your country, but you have to live here. So there were a ton of things that the system was totally different. I need to fight the system from Argentina first in order to just have an opportunity here. So at the beginning, and just thinking about it, it stressed the fuck out of me because I'm just having those memories from January, early January, that it was so hard to fight against it. Like some some things from their culture and a lot of things from Argentina that was still with me here in Denmark.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's always a. I believe I can understand in the transition period. It can be very hard.
Mm.
So how did you do it? If there's no IBAN, then how the hell did you transfer the money?
you you know, I had a plenty amount of cash because I knew that something like that was going to happen, and I needed to ask my boss at the time to make a deposit to his own account and make the transfer. And that was something that he did that, and he just needed to just tell how is the word? But it's like the tax company, like the company that makes all the records for taxes.
Yeah.
That money belonged to me, and it was only for to pay a rent, things like that. It was like I didn't want to do something like that. It's like it's your boss. It's not like your friend or something like that. But people here are so open and so friendly when you need help. They were all like all offering themselves to just give us a hand at the beginning because I was so stressed at the beginning with that thing. It was like just imagine yourself that you have to just fight against it. It's like your your family is depending on you because of course you are the one that understands how to do it, and it's like uh, how I'm going to pay this thing. I mean, I have the money, but I can't make a deposit because you can't do a cash deposit here in Denmark if you don't have a like a bank account here. It was like, oh my god, it can't be possible. And well, I just got like I got help, and I was truly grateful for that.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, it's nice that it's solved, and so it's been 5 months. So you haven't been there for too long, but
Mhm.
still. By the way, it's really fucking cool to know that because we're kind of close to each other. Right? Well, you live in Aarhus, or however you pronounce that, but yeah, we're pretty close to each other now.
You are in Sweden, right?
Yeah, and I'm in Malmo as well, which is like south of
Ah,
Sweden.
it's really close. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
close to Copenhagen. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I've been to Denmark so many times. Like Denmark and Sweden is kind of connected in a
Hmm.
way. It's two countries, but like Malmo and Copenhagen, for example, is like it's like the same country almost.
Hmm.
Two different countries, but one union, so to say. And whenever I fly, I use Copenhagen Airport because we don't have one. We do have one in Malmo, but it's really small, so it doesn't do so many international flights. But anyway, I just want to say it's cool. But one of the things I was wondering about is that how do you think that this Denmark, like moving to Denmark, how do you think it's changed your life and your maybe also maybe a little bit about like how it's changed your career as a player? Like I said, you've only been there for 5 months, but well, yeah, it might be a hard question to answer, but
I mean, I can. I mean, so far, it's been better in terms of how much practice I can get, how many players I can play. Um, in terms of my professional career, it is better because I have the opportunity to have more players to practice with. Even if I want to play with the North American guys, it's better because I have less ping than I used to have in North America, in South America. Sorry. Um, I mean, it's better, but I don't think that it's like it got me like really like a really bad performance that I used to have. Of course, I just had to fix a lot of things that, of course, with time you need to fix them to in order to improve. Um, as well, I think that playing from Europe it's a really good thing because it allows me to prove like my my real potential. Sometimes I don't have the luck enough to win some matches, but we are going to approach that later. But I think it is better to be here in order to get more practice and get better. Of course, I mean if we can't doubt about it because, for example, Senaku came to Europe from Australia, and if you want to just make the comparison, South America and Australia are really isolated regions. I mean, Australia is more isolated, I think, than Argentina or South America in general. Um, but in both cases, I mean, you can see how Senaku has been improved or from his time on challengers when he started and where he is now. I mean, now he's a really big contender. He's a really talented player, uh, but he needed to work his ass off for it, and he achieved it. I mean, he is of course on his path to win a big tournament. He can do it, of course. Uh, but I think what I was going to say with all this is that probably the amount of practice that we can get here, and since there are a lot of big fishes here, it will allow us to improve much faster than we can do it in South America or Australia as well. Um, I'm trying to make a comparison between my performance in South America and being here, but I think it's just the time I've been here is just 5 months, so I can make a real comparison if I just got there or not yet. I mean, I got a really good result, but the I think that what it matters the most is just how you perform on land or on finals as well. On group stage, probably players they don't care that they don't care enough, and probably on finals and land uh, they are playing the best version or the A game, as Rafa would say. So I try to just minimize sometimes if I have a bad performance of the year, like playing I just defeat them like 3-0 or something like that. I just being a little bit skeptical with those results because when I went to IRONFIST, I just saw that the players that they have a really good performance overall, and and it's like okay, they behave in a way on internet. Since I already knew that, but on land, their aggression was minimal sometimes. They were so calculated sometimes, and my way to play as well is like I like to be aggressive and things like that. I like to push a lot, and on land I got the opportunity to do the same in some occasions. Of course, you need to be more cautious about your pushes, of course, on land because everything hits. But I was so glad that, for example, on land, uh, she got knockback there, and it's something like okay, try to push and see what happens. And every time that someone trying to push like a I know, just put an example, like on Battle of Now, if you're sitting on Mega and you have a LG on your hands and someone just came rushing, they were going to be stomping against a wall because since the knockback is so strong on land, it was like impossible for players to just push like that, like they do on internet. And that was something so positive to me because it allowed me to play the game that I wanted at the time. Probably I got really unlucky that I couldn't defeat Avek at Iron Fist, which I was really close, and it was really painful to watch my ball on map one against him because I got the lead on a walk, and I don't know what just happened, but he tied the game. He defeated me there, and I was like, why? I was trying to get LG. I had all the time in the world to just wait for it, and I got like 2 or 3 frags just on the LG area. It was like, come on, man. But I think uh, what I like from my own mindset is that I know that, and I need those moments to happen at least once because I know that that moment won't happen again. And I learn from my mistakes a lot um, because there is something that I always say to myself is that it's good to win, but I prefer to be struggling in order to improve than just winning and having nothing to improve and being at the same state all the time. Um, that's the I think that's the kind of thought that kept me going, even playing on high ping all the time. It's like if there is something really positive that I used to do a lot is that I was always laughing during my professional matches, and it's like you you gotta remember that this is a game after all. And of course, there are going to be frustrating moments, like what just happened this weekend against CNZ. It's like he was 8 HP when I fell. Actually, he was 28, and I don't know what just happened, but I just misclicked, and of course, he won the map. He did what he needed to do. I mean, he did 100% actually there, and it was like I just needed to laugh there because I couldn't believe it. But things like that happened, and I just can't be living like in the past, like, uh, oh my god, I can't. This thing will happen. No, I will make sure that that won't happen again. I will train whatever I need to in order to not allow that to happen again. Uh, but yeah, I think that I told you that I like to talk. That's why you can't ask anything because I go from everywhere. I take all the paths possible to talk about everything.
Ah, just excellent, excellent. I love it. It was a nice insight. Absolutely. Actually, I wanted because you started talking about Iron Fist, and I think I was looking through your before I started the interview. I was looking through your achievements on Wikipedia, and was Iron Fist your first Quake LAN, uh, or at least your first
uh,
Tier One LAN?
no, no, no. It was only Quake Champions. My first land was at it was in Buenos Aires. Uh, of course, it was like a LAN party, but there was money involved. It was a dual one. It was in 2013, I guess, and I got second there. They were like really old school players that they were really good, and actually I lost against Doomsday, which he went to QuakeCon twice, um, and as well next in the next year in 2014 I I went to another LAN tournament, but it was in Buenos Aires as well, but that was a clan arena tournament, but we won that tournament. But yeah, those were my experiences on LAN
Okay,
before Quake Champions.
okay. So, what game are we talking about? Quake Live? It was Quake
Yeah,
Live.
Quake Live, Quake Live.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. So yeah, because I was also wondering, because I think that's a very good question to ask. Um, if we wind back the clock, and like, what was your first encounter with esports and playing games? Well, playing games in general. You could start there. Like, when did you start, like, sitting at the computer and playing games?
Uh, the first time I got in a computer playing games, I think it was in 1998, 1999, and believe it or not, the first game I tried was Quake, actually, because it's a really fun and good story. Because I got involved in Quake, and I got involved in games in general because my father came from his job, and he came with, I don't know, it was like a pile of 10 games in those CDs, and he got like Quake 1, Quake 2, and Quake 3. So it probably was 1999 then. And he installed those three games, Doom 1, Doom 2. I think he got Duke Nuke as well, but I can't recall, to be honest. And I remember that I just saw how my father was installing the games, and I was curious about what he was doing. And then, of course, he just run Quake One, and I was in a little chair just watching behind him, and it was really cool. At the time, he wasn't using for the game. He wasn't using a mouse. Was using this thing that like a pilot thing. I don't know what's the name for those kind.
Joystick.
The joystick. There we go. Like he was using that, and he was like really curious about how that works. And I just tried. It was really amazing. And then I don't remember if it was the same day, but a couple of days after, I just saw him playing Quake 2, and it was amazing because I didn't understand at the time. Imagine I was 4 years old, 5 actually. I was 5 years old, and I couldn't understand how Quake 1 and Quake 2 were related. I mean, nowadays we have all these interviews that people that used to work at it software that they say that like Quake was suffering like this identity problem. Imagine if a 5 years kid didn't understand that it was like a sequel. Imagine how it was for the people that was around for them for those games.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's Quake 2, okay. And I think I liked the most that game because the characters were like more humans, I think. And of course, you have the strokes as well. But since you started the game, for me it was like I was just shooting humans in my for me at that age. Of course, later in the game you start like shooting strokes and all the robots that you have there. And I think it was the most attractive because I liked the music at the time. I was 5 years old and I really liked the music. Uh, and as well, I used to have the CD, yeah, and I was using it on not a home theater, but it was like I don't know the name of these things, but like you can use the CD on a player, and you can listen to the music, and that was really amazing at the time. And of course, I got to try Quake 3, and for single player, of course, for me the best experience I had in the time was Quake 2. But Quake 3 was really amazing for me because, of course, you were playing like an arcade game, and I was shooting all the time. And for single player, I was a 5 years old kid. For a single player campaign, I think Quake 2 was better for me at the time. Uh, so yeah, that's how I started to play games. I mean, I'm here because of my father, basically, and that's a story that I always tell because I started to play this game that I play today because my father just went to our house with these games, basically.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, related to competition and all this stuff, I think I got more related to tournaments in general after playing CS because I used to play CS with my friends, and I think that I will start to play more often Quake in general if I understood how to play online in Quake 3. But at the time I didn't speak English, and as well I couldn't understand how to play it. And as well, the first time and only time I played Quake 3 online, I remember I got in a server. It was the map was Longest Yard, and I don't remember if it was an insta give or if insta give was a thing at the time or not. But the only thing I can recall is that Reagan was 100 damage in that time. So I was spawning and dying instantly. So imagine, I was young. That was the first time I got the opportunity to play online, and I was dying all the time. So it was like, no, I just can't play this game, and I was coming back to Quake. Sometimes when I had the opportunity to just install the game, play it on offline, uh, and that's it. I just kept playing CS with my friends because we could play with each other and compete with each other. I mean, we sucked at the time, but we were like 10 or 11 years old, and we were playing with our friends and yelling at each other because we wanted to compete at Ed's tournament, and we weren't good enough. But that was the whole thing about playing with your friends, and I couldn't do that with Quake at the time. And when Quake Live uh, arrived, that was totally different because of course Quake Live was in a browser, which is it was better and faster at the time for me to just understand how to play online. So the only thing that I needed at the time was just to open the browser and connect to the server. That was really amazing at the time, and then that was the moment that I decided to just switch to Quake again. The thing there was that my friends didn't like the game, or probably they couldn't run the game. Me neither. I couldn't run the game as well, but at least I had more than 60 to 70, 80 FPS at the time. And when it was decent, I was 60 hertz, so as long as the game was running well and smooth, I was playing it because I really liked the game, and I think I got the memories of just playing Quake 3, and for me it was the same.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. 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 Wow, that was a lot of history. So and then yeah, you started playing Quake Live, and so the two lands that you previously talked about in Buenos Aires, was that where it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
What year was that, by the way?
Those two lands were in 2013 and 2014. By the way, I played twice on LAN during my CS time, and those were on the north of the country, which it was Posadas, because I'm from the north of the north of Argentina, and we did really well in CS at that time. But yeah, I got the experience of being on LAN at that time. So if you want to count my LAN experience before IronFist, there were 4 moments for instance, that I went to play on LAN.
Yeah. Okay. How far did you make it in Counter Strike? Like in terms of competition?
Look, um we wanted to go hard, go pro basically, with one of our friends back in CS:GO. It was before that challengers arrived here in Quake Champions, because at the time I was playing a laptop, and of course Quake Champions wasn't running so good for me at all. Like maps like Corrupted Keep, I got an average of 70 to 80% to 80 FPS. And if I was playing against a Blazkowicz, if the Blazkowicz was using dual wheel, I got 65 FPS or 50. And of course, I didn't have a 144 hertz monitor or 240. I was playing at 75 hertz with 8 milliseconds delay, so input lag. So, and as well playing on high ping, which it wasn't 140 milliseconds at the time. It was around 170. So if you do all the comparison and you take the numbers, it's like, why would I just keep playing this game that basically I don't have any opportunity to just compete or go pro, whatever. I don't have the resources. And back in CS, I mean, in CS, it's not that necessary in the beginning to just have this kind of setup that I have now. I mean, we had the skills. I mean, I had the skills for Quake. I mean, I qualified for relegations on that setup. I mean, it wasn't about the setup I had, the skill I had, and the work that I needed to do. I was willing to do it. It wouldn't matter how much work I needed. I was going to do it. And then at the time we were really, I wouldn't say really good, because otherwise uh, we, we would have been pros. But at the time we were like committing ourselves to just really go really hard on the game, and we started to sort of play a ton of gamer clubs, which is a website outside CS:GO, which is the same as Faceit, but Faceit is like a more global thing. It works as well in South America, but Gamers Club was a thing like I don't know, pro players in South America, like the ones that are playing for Furia or Nine Set right now or MyVR. Those were playing in Gamers Club, so we were playing there, and like you get rankings for playing in those systems. And I don't remember the rank that we had in that time, but we were not really far from the top, and we were like, if we commit with this, we might get in a really top team. I stopped and I started to compete for challengers, and my friend started to, so he just kept playing, and he was playing for an Argentinian team. He dropped CS, and one of his teammates started to play for a team that was one of the top players, one of the top teams in Argentina, and I think he was teammate for one of the greatest players in Argentina that now plays in United States. So imagine how small or how close actually we were
Yeah.
to get to the top, that we were really close to the top players already. So sometimes I think that if I made the right decision or not to just commit to this game, rather than just continue with CS. But I like to think that I am in the game that I really love. I got in love with this game. I mean, if I was, I think it was like a timing thing that unfortunately these aren't the times where CS and Quake are the main games competing against each other. Um, but I don't regret, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't regret uh, having made making this decision about just going pro for Quake because the scene actually might be small, but it's really amazing how connected you are with the people. Because I think if you go pro for games that are much bigger in terms of audiences, um, you don't get like the community feeling because of course it's like you are like a celebrity for probably if you are in a like a now the PGL major that we have in Antwerp, I think it is called. It's like they are celebrities. But if, for example, that's a really good thing, and it's amazing how it looks. But to be honest, I am someone that likes to be on the ground. It's like if I go to QuakeCon, if I which I really would love to. I mean, I qualified in 2000 and 2020, 2021 for these years as well. But there is no QuakeCon. We are not going to Dallas.
Yeah.
And imagine 3 years in a row that you can't go to the United States and we being there with the people that really love this game. It's like I think it hurts the most because I like how our community is. I like to just talk with them. I mean, if unfortunately uh, uh, our language is not English, is Spanish in Latin America and as well for Spain because I feel like the Spaniard community always like to give me questions and being around, and that's something I really love, to be honest. The same for the South American community. Even if I have to speak English with the Brazilians, it's like we are really close to each other, and the same happens with Europeans that. They just show up on my stream because now I stream in a time that they are awake, because I used to stream at night in Argentina, so it means that it was around 3 a.m. Europe. So I think that's why I said I don't regret that being that I made this decision to just go pro in this game because the community, beyond the fact that you get to play in the game you like, the community, it's like really amazing, and I appreciate that I'm really close to them as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that's a super good point because I also played Counter-Strike a hell of a lot before, and I was in love with the game, sure, and I also made it. I didn't make it as far as you, but I made it pretty far anyway. But my point is that the community it's so huge, like the player base, it's so huge. So number one, the competition is incredible. The competition is almost impossible to go pro, but I guess that's a good thing. But because the community is so big, it's not so personal, you know. Like maybe the absolute top pros stick together, but it's like, yeah, it's so many people, so it doesn't make it so personal. That's one of the things that I really loved when I came to Quake. It's like, yeah, it is a pretty small community of like 200 people, but maybe not even 200. But the pro scene consists of what, like
Hmm.
16 players, but everybody knows each other, and everybody are so friendly. So just like you said, it's just a community. It's a small community. Everybody knows each other. Everyone is so nice, and I think you can go really far with that, as opposed to, yeah, you and me, we could play CS instead, and we could, if we would go pro there, we would make a lot, like much more money and stuff, but it's not always what matters, and I think that's what some people don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are values that we get here in Quake that probably you might not get in CS. Probably there are things that CS might have that Quake might not. But I think just to make an example, I think that people that just played, became pro, or was around the community since I don't know, since the beginning of the century, they are still around. I mean,
Yeah.
our esport manager is 04. He used to be a pro player. He now runs the tournaments for this game. Um, for example, Horitz, which is the guy from Czech Republic, he does a lot of BTS stuff and things like that. A lot of posts. He keeps the community like informed in some sort of way. Like he get news for the community, and he was around. I don't know. I remember I saw him in 2009 in a tournament in Italy. I think I mean, the guy has been around since then, and probably even before that.
Yeah.
I mean, people that used to be in that time, they are still in this time as well. And beyond the fact that we might be in a small community, I think there are a lot of people that they are interested in Quake, in the Quake franchise as well. Um, it's not only about the players that are online right now, but there are a lot of people that they just show up for the stream because they like to watch the game, and that's something that impresses me, to be honest, because it's like, okay, I watched here and there some CS streams, and it's not like I watch because the game is really good. I'm just watching because I know I like to watch the crowd, how amazing the crowd is. But the same happens in a tournament when it's in a LAN event. The same happens in Quake. So um, I don't know where I wanted to go with that thing, but yeah, something around that. I think the values that we have here are amazing. I think that. The the way that we can get a network with players as well I don't think that that's something that you can get so easily in CS as well.
No. No, no, I don't think so. So
Mm.
that's because I remember when I came to Iron Fist, which was obviously my first Quake competition ever. It was actually my first big LAN in esports of all time. But I just remember how close everybody, like it seemed like everybody knew each other, and everyone was so nice, and you could talk and hang out with everyone, just like, and everyone was welcoming, even for me, because I'm like, I think back then, okay, it was me and Wolfie who just came into the scene, and like Wolfie just came like 6 months prior to that, and but everyone was so welcoming of us too, like everyone was so nice, and it really opened my eyes. Like, yeah, you just want to stay in the scene because it's really good. It's just a fantastic feeling. So I hope we get another LAN soon because I feel like it's needed. It's been a long time now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that another good thing here that we have on Quake is that no one is going to watch you over their shoulders, uh, and I think that in a I mean the community sometimes is kind of toxic. Same happen with the players. It happens in every game, but at least what I just saw and whatever I've seen so far, the toxicity levels are not as high as I would expect it, and in between the top players, there is no as trash talk as I would have expected. I think the way that the players behave or how they are in between them, it's really amazing. It's like they are friends competing. I mean, they don't forget that they are competing as well. But I mean, it's amazing. They are friends, or at least they like to hang out on events because it's like really natural. We are all there for something that we like, and it's a game. It's like it's common thing that we all have, and why can't we just hang out with each other and just be cool with each other? I don't think that that's really a thing in CS because there are a ton of people, of course. that might get to problems sometimes, and that get to smaller groups as well. I mean, I don't say that the 16 of us plus managers and friends and family means that they can gather to one table, things like that. But at least I know that I know I know that the top player will not go and watch over his shoulder to the player 16, for example. I mean, if I don't know if Rafa is top one, and I don't know uh, now it's not 16, but we are 13 right now. And 13, I guess I think is Sagib, for example.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, no one is going to watch Sagib like this, like, oh no, you're just a really low skill player that you are playing QPL. No, not at all. It's like it's just another player that is going to play on LAN and might defeat you. It's not like that on LAN you have like your win, like it's sure that you're going to win. So it's like the respect as well that pro players give to each other. It's something that as well is really valuable from our game as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. It is a great community that we have. You touched on it a little bit before, but I wanted to say that you qualified into QPL from Quake World Championships 2020. I checked
Exactly.
before, and what so qualifying into QPL now meant that you had a more stable way of competing, like uh, the first stage where you play your weekly matches, and then the finals, which haven't been on LAN yet, but um, since you started, I think at least because when you qualified, it was already Corona and stuff. So
Yeah, I
um,
mean the first time I got to play relegation, that was already Corona times. I mean,
yeah,
I got the first time I got in relegations was for season one, stage three, I think it was, and I got defeated by Seneca at that time, and that was the first online event that we had. Also, you can remember that at the time, the first was the European region playing against them until you got two players and then one in the bottom. So three players qualifying for the day three, and the same for the Americas side. So yeah, that was the time.
yeah. So qualifying into QPL, uh, what did it mean for you as a player and for your career? Was it like a moment for you where you just felt like now is the time I'm gonna go all in for Quake?
Um, when I qualify for QPL, the first thought I have is, well, I need to upgrade my PC. That was the first thing, of course.
Did you
Um,
qualify
but
with a laptop?
I made it through the relegation with the laptop, but I went to one of my friends' house
Hmm.
and I played with his setup. I don't know if you know who this is. He is Corsair, which is one of the top players in
Yeah, I know
Argentina
him.
as
Yeah.
well. I went to his house. We were in Corona times, but we said, okay, just come and play. Uh, I mean, I think I was saving myself in my apartment for a couple of days, so I couldn't get any contact with anyone except for my girlfriend. And I went to his house and qualified. Fun fact is that I was using, I think it was a Zoe EC2A at the time, and my girlfriend played on my laptop the day before, and she changed the DPI that I was using. I used 800, and she was using 1600. So I didn't understand why my sensitivity was so high during my match on relegation, and I was like looking at the cursor, man, my sensitivity was higher, it was 16, and we were like, no, man, thank God you qualified. I totally forgot about it, and well. I mean, suddenly I just got on top and I could qualify. But with your question, regarding your question, um, the first thing I needed to do was to upgrade my PC. So I sold my laptop, and I was already actually uh, I was selling some stuff that I was in use, wasn't using at the time. And of course, at the time, there wasn't this shortage that we had for GPUs yet, but the prices were increasing. Well, they were already high enough, so I need to just sell the laptop. Fun fact is that Challenges Finance happened on a Saturday. I think it was Saturday. The day before, on Friday, someone bought my laptop, so it means that I was going to deliver my laptop on next Monday. So I qualified for relegation, and I didn't have any PC to practice. All right, so I was around 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks before finals, just practicing on Quake Live on my girlfriend's computer.
Okay.
So it's like my story is always full of those things. It's amazing. And but yeah, I mean, after I just upgrade my PC, I just bought a 144 hertz monitor, a decent GPU, a good CPU as well, and I start to just practice more often. And I mean, the rest is history, because my first match was against Effortless. I got the opportunity to just beat them 3-0, and yeah, that's it. I mean, as a player, I think I got the opportunity to be more focused on the game, because if you just try to make a graphic about the time I was spending in the game, probably since I qualify for QPL, probably the time I was spending just ramp up really high. I mean, I might have around 4,000 hours on Quake right now, but probably, I don't know, 2,500 hours might be like just from August 2020 from now, for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, so like what? Yeah, 2000. No, that's how many hours do you have? 4,000?
4,000, yeah.
Yeah, so 1,500 hours. Yeah, that's in like a little less than 2 years. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
Yeah, I
pretty good.
mean, I did more in between this time from since I qualified, that since 2017 to 2020. The time, uh, yeah, the time I got spending right now, it's just higher, of course, because I became a pro.
Yeah. Yeah, so in other words, QPL meant that you now had something to grind for, so it was like it was easier to spend time with playing, I assume. So
Yeah.
back then when you qualified, how did your life look outside of Quake? Like how was your life? Yeah, how was your life in general back then? What was your overall situation?
By the time I just finished my career in audiovisual arts, and as well I finished my, it's like a bachelor for visual effects as well. So I had a bachelor and a degree as well. Um, so at the time when 2020 started, I moved from La Plata to Buenos Aires. I mean, if you try to look for the map, it will say that La Plata is in Buenos Aires province, and I went to Buenos Aires city. And I moved there because I stopped studying, of course, because I already finished. And I went there to just start working, and the pandemic started. So at the time, I was looking for opportunities as a freelancer. At the time, I was working on my portfolio and things like that. But I remember that since I got the opportunity to play in relegation, I decided to just commit myself to just give it one more try. And that try was at the Quake World Championship in 2020. So it wasn't like so much time that I was like just trying to practice that much, and I was like, okay, I want to just work as a freelancer, but as well I want to go pro. So there was a time after I lost against Seneca that I spent around 2 months, probably 3 months, practicing and trying to improve. And I think that, well, I don't think that worked, because I got into the league, and that wasn't like that much time off for me, since I wasn't working at the time. But at least I got some backup in order to just not work, but at least spend the time uh, practicing for challengers.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. And so how does your life outside Quake look now then? Do you play Quake full time now, or like how do you work or study on the side?
No, I now I'm doing like trying to just start my own business in terms of audio visuals. I'm working on that right now. As well, I'm working as a video producer at a marketing company, and I think that this is just a hobby for me now because I need to pay attention for the day-to-day incoming. Uh, so yeah, that's how it looks for me. And now I I spend a lot of time in my house, but as well, I'm just working on a project that I really want to go out with it. So I might spend a little more time until I just get everything like running and working. And I think that I will spend less time once the company is running because as a freelancer, you still have time in between jobs. But once I start with this project, I might not have the time that I would like to have for Quake because, of course, when you start like a life like an entrepreneur, uh, it's like when you you don't you don't want to work from 8 to or 9 to 5, but suddenly you start a business and you start to work even more hours than that. And I know that that works, and I'm willing to do that because that's the I started for this. I really want to run my own business, and if there are more opportunities for esports. I mean, arriving, of course, I will pay attention to that, but in the meantime, I am as well working on my personal life, in terms of my personal projects, my professional career, etc.
Yeah, it sounds pretty clever to like do something on the side as well. It's always nice to have like okay, I was gonna say it's a backup plan, but it almost sounds like you're focusing more on your career. So I feel like
Well,
uh,
in reality, I am now focusing the earnings I get from QPL as investing is on my own company,
yeah,
and as well I use I mean my father just always I think is taught me is when someone teach you how to just invest in the market. Now you have bitcoins and stuff like that. So it's like he taught me that you need to make your money works for you instead of you work for the money,
yeah,
and that's a really clever thing because it's not like I don't have this mindset of I work and I only have one type of income. I need to have several types of incomes. So that's the thing I'm doing right now. I need to work on several things that gets me that income.
yeah, yeah. Okay, sounds fair. So if we leave everything else in your life and focus 100% on Quake, what do you dream of in Quake right now? Uh,
To achieve, you mean,
yeah, I
or
mean in
something
in
to
general,
happen?
like let's say in 2 years, do you see a sustainable future in Quake, or is it still just gonna be a hobby? You know?
I would love to run or be running something related to Quake, like inside an esport team or something like that. To be honest, I would like to do that. Um, I mean, I like to be helpful with things around this game as well, and for example, I'm always talking with the King Kong guy, which is the guys from Spain as well. For example, they are running a LAN tournament now in October, which they confirmed. I mean, for now it's only going to be for the Spaniards, but they are aiming to just trying to run a tournament for everyone that wants to come. And it's like they told me we really want you to be part of this, and I really love that. And it's like being part of like it's an organization that they want to run tournaments for people like they are running for Spaniards. I mean the Spaniards are really active, but they play against each other and they are not like really open to play against Europeans. Not like they don't like them, but they are like friends playing against them against each other all the time. Same happened in Argentina in that case. It's like they understand that probably they don't have the same level as the rest of Europe, but still they want to compete and they want to have some kind of opportunity to just win a tournament. So that's why they compete against each other. Probably in the future they might open themselves to just play against more people outside Spain. But what I learned is that I the network, the connection that you can get on esports when you are helping without trying, actually, without trying, people are always looking for you when you are helping them. And I didn't like it's like you are not trying to get anything from them, but they want to give you something. Like it's just man, you helped us with this. I want to offer this in exchange, or not in exchange, but probably as a gift or things like that,
Yeah.
or this opportunity because we really like how you work with us, and I learned that I really want to be part of an esport team, not as a player, probably. I mean, as a player now, of course, because I'm a pro player, but in the future, I would like to run an esport team not a coach. I mean, being behind the scenes and being the one that has to run things in order to make the players to be comfortable with the team and make the team being profitable profitable. I don't know how to say the word
Yeah, it's
to make
correct.
profit. Yeah. Um, so to just make a really big name as a as really good players in CS did like Potty, for example, I think he did like the guy is really smart. I remember that
Yeah.
I think I posted on Twitter once. He got an interview and he said that the CS scene is really big and what it is now. They need to work a lot, of course. And but now it's like CS is really big at the top. I mean, we can easily see it, but what he says that we need to work in the grassroots, like just whatever is not in the main stage, we need to work on that. And I think that's something that, for example, Quake will need a lot if you work on that. I don't say that the player base will increase, but at least the players that will be signing more often. Um, that would be significant in terms of how many signs you would get. Because if you see, for example, the study cups, it's a project that I really like. But if you pay attention, every time that there is money involved, like when they do like an anniversary thing, last year they did, and they invited me, and I was playing from Argentina, but I play anyways. And I think there was like 1,000 euros or something like that. I don't remember how many sign-ups there were, but it was really amazing how many players they were playing. So imagine just 1,000 euros. Of course, that doesn't mean that the first place get the 1,000, but still, it's a really attractive prize pool. And if you you can think like, okay, we can get some sponsors here and there, and work in the grassroots probably, and you can get players that are not at the top signing for tournaments like we used to have on ESL tournaments. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, like the GoPro, I think it was the tournaments. I can't recall. And I think the winner of every Thursday they got like $50 to $100 per tournament, which was really amazing. Um, Unfortunately, they stopped doing those tournaments. I think something like that is really amazing for the community and for the active players to compete. that's something I encourage players to compete more often. And I think that that's something that, for example, the small games or niche games like ours get benefit from it, because I think that we stream our tournaments, we get viewership, more visibility. I think this word, uh, and the game is currently being streamed. It's out there. If you get uh, posts on Reddit or hashtag on Twitter, you get some kind of visibility as well. So I think that's the kind of job and kind of work that I would like to do in order to have an esport company and make my players to get an exposure and their games that they are pros as well to get exposure that they would deserve. Because I think that, for example, in our case, Quake deserves or more exposure than what we have now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think you make a good point there because yeah, yeah, Potty, for example, he works with the Swedish Pro League, by the way, I think, and he also does a lot of other like smaller cups. Like I think he's just working full time. He's working with this Swedish platform that's called Esportal. It's like
Hmm.
I used to play there all the time. It's just such a brilliant platform because yeah, they put in a lot of effort into what you said, these grassroots, like to their aim is to like take young players and get them into the into the real competitive scene and prepare them, give them the most valuable assets, and then send them into the pro scene because that's what we need, right? And I think I agree with you. Like it's kind of similar in Quake. We have Pro League, which is virtually the only like the only tier one competition there is. And then what do we have outside of that? I mean, challengers included, right? What do we have outside of that? We don't really have much. We have the aesthetic cups, like you said. It's just the small community cups. There's no smaller league system. Well, there is actually. There's like I think aesthetic did a league, and then there was also there's a league that's called Jer
Jerk
QC.
QC,
Yeah,
Jerk QC. We have the Polish league as well.
yeah,
Uh, I mean, it's really cool what they do. Actually, the South Americans as well. They have
yeah,
their own league, their 2v2 league that they have. Um, I mean, it's a. I mean, Quake has been always a community-based game
yeah,
as well. So, I mean, it's nice that we have these tournaments being run right now, and I think that as long as these tournaments being run by the communities is out there, I think there is always a chance to just make them better, to support those tournaments, to make them more visible, and to show that this game can get more exposure because tournaments in all areas uh, are being done. I mean, as well, the Australians, they have their own tournaments as well. They run their own APAC the 2v2 tournaments every
yeah.
Sunday. I think they're
Quachi cups or whatever.
Quachi Cups.
Yeah,
There we go. It's like there are tournaments out there that are not tier one, but still, I mean, those are tournaments anyways. Probably what it happens is that well, I said, I mean, they need that work on their exposure in order to just be known by the rest of the community.
yeah.
I mean, we know that this Hero QC community, this Polish community, I know that South Americans are running their tournaments, the Quachi Cups as well. But there might be things that we don't know, and those as well need to work on their exposure.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I sort of I said it in a bit of a stupid way because yes, of course we do have lots of community tournaments, but I think what I mean is that QPL is something different because QPL comes from an external organizer. Like it's not by the community, It's like by PGL, Bethesda, and I think what Quake would also need, aside from all these wonderful community tournaments, that we should praise and love them because they are fantastic. So you gotta make sure to show your support, like donate a little bit of money, whatever you can do. But I think what we also need is like something below, something that is. kind of like QPL, but it's more like for the grassroots, like a league system, like a global league system.
Hmm.
Um, Now, if it's gonna happen, I don't know, because like you said, Quake has always been a community-driven game. It's always like from the start. I feel like it's always been like that. But there's been times when Quake has been bigger than it is now, and there's also been times that where Quake has been smaller. I feel like, or at least when the competitive scene has been smaller. Like I guess I'm thinking about like Quake Live in the later like 2016, 15. I don't think it was very big then. Like I think there was like there's only competition there was QuakeCon, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, you're right about it. I mean, I think when I started to just play more often Quake Live, I remember that yes, ESWC tournaments were being around as well. I think WCG as well, DreamHack,
Yeah,
QuakeCon. There were a ton of tournaments that there were around. I think that if we are back to the tier one tournaments, that's something that would be really amazing for the top players to have this. Like, just imagine if the Quake Pro League was like a circuit. Like we play online, but on month two we go to Ed's place and month four and things like that. I mean, they already planned that for season one, but the pandemic was around. I mean, if you remember, they play on Luca,
yeah,
then they play on Katowice. They were meant to go to Katowice again that year, and then Dallas. So it was like a really good circuit that they were doing with Quake Pro League. I mean, that looked amazing. Uh, but well, the pandemic started, so it's not on them. It's not on them. They did a really good thing, but it couldn't be done. And as well for season two, they expected to have two lands on Bucharest and one on Dallas, but it didn't happen as well. So it's not like they are not trying to do it, but I mean, it's not poor timing, but just crazy times that we are living now that just happened. It's really unfortunate what it happened, but I think that everything is looking really amazing for the future in terms of land tournaments, and I don't mean about tier one in terms of just Bethesda, but at least Iron Fist 2 was announced. Um, so that's a really good thing that at least one tournament online will happen. Um, Probably if the King Kong guys are willing to do, and if they get sponsors and things like that, to get a prize pool and a tournament open for the whole Europeans instead of just inviting, I mean, open for whoever can go and getting a prize pool, that would be really attractive for players to go to Barcelona and compete there. And so we will have like two tournaments that we can play online as well. So I mean, I think that it looks promising for the future to do something like that. Uh, so yeah, I'm looking with good eyes for the future of this game. Beyond the fact that sometimes it looks like kind of like suspicious, like everything is like having like we can see the end in front of us, but I see like we still have a future.
yeah, yeah. That's good to hear because I feel like that too. But it's because I wasn't around from the start of QPL because I came in 2021, but I was so I've heard so many times that like season one was supposed to be the only season, and then oh, will we get another season? Probably not. And then we get a season two, and then everybody thought that that was going to be the last season, and then we get a season three, and pretty much the same speculations now. Is there going to be another season? Whatever.
I think the speculation around because the announcement are always around um, finals or well, last year happened after QuakeCon. Of course, people were like, okay, now what are we just watching? Is there going to be a season three, something like that? I understand if there is any kind of speculation, uh, but at least what I can say is that if there isn't a season four, we already know that there are people trying to make land tournaments. So it's not like we are just depending only on QPL. It's like we are now know that we can prepare ourselves for a new tournament in the future. And that's huge. I mean, the more the better.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as we have a few tier, well, a few, we have one Iron Fist, and like you said, Keen Calm. If that happens, sounds absolutely amazing. I wasn't aware. I saw a tweet about it, but I saw a tweet about they made a highlight movie that you retweeted or something. But it looked amazing, and yeah, if we can have an international format, that would be huge. Um, but yeah, we have something to look forward to, and I wanted to ask you because we haven't touched about this. We haven't touched on this at all, and this is something that I think that many people are interested in hearing, because I think many people think of you as like an extremely calculate. You like to rush, like you said, you like to be aggressive, but when you play, you look very very calm and what's it called? Calm and yeah, I don't know.
Collected?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
And so,
Uh,
how when you play, like how do you approach the game? How does a normal practice day work for look for you? Do you do anything? What do you do to prepare and to play?
Look, what happens is that the kind of mindset that I have is that I remember that when I used to do CrossFit, my coach used to tell me that we we need to train as we compete, but as well, I I had a conversation with him, which that sentence that he just said is really important. You have to practice as you compete, yeah. But I asked him, what if we train as we compete, but as well we try everything that we can. Like we need to try everything in order to just make mistakes and learn from them in order to just not have them at the moment we compete. So he agreed with that, and I have this mindset that I tend to do a ton of stupid things when I'm practicing, but those are forced because I know that if there was like a kind of rush that I did during a practice session and it didn't work, I would rewatch it, of course, and I would try to analyze why it didn't work. And if something like that worked, I will try to see why it worked, and I will replicate it when I'm practicing, when I'm competing. Sorry. So what happens is that every time I'm competing, you see that I'm pushing, and someone might think, why are you pushing like that? Because I already did it several times, and I know what I need in order to approach that way. If I it's not like I'm just pushing like a really stupid or retarded way that I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I need, and if I have everything on my list. I do the kind of attacks that I do. It's like if you complete the list, you are allowed to attack. Simple as that. So as well, I am a player that tends to just look for free damage all the time. That's something that I learned from a match in between Cypher and Rafa. Actually, the match is from Luca when Cypher defeated Rafa, and that was on Blood Covenant. In the matchup was Visor against Slash. And what I learned from that match is that Cypher was all the time playing Blastback. But the problem was not that he was playing Blastback. He was dealing damage all the time. Yeah, but that was unreturned damage. So it's like, okay, the guy didn't have the control of the map, but he knew how to make how to make every single item like punishing every single item, or at least damage that Rafa couldn't do. So I was like, this is the smartest thing I've ever seen, because it's like, okay, I might not be the greatest brain in the game, because it's like sometimes I'm just playing and I know that I don't remember an item or something like that, or I just forgot the cycle and I'm just standing on one item when I took the item. I don't know, I took heavy at 36 and I know the first is heavy and I'm standing on mega because I forgot, and then I just broke all the cycle because I forgot. I might not be the greatest brain, but I know how to deal against players that might have the full control of the items. So what I develop as a game star is pushing when I know that I have the right to, when I just have my list completed. And once I have all these lists completed, I can start pushing because I already have one item. And sometimes I know that if my opponent hits a lot, something that you have to do with them is that you have to push them so much, because if they don't get weapons or they are fighting in really weird places, you get the advantage of they don't first they don't have the items, they don't have weapons, and probably you will have all the weapons and the cycle, so you have the advantages on those. That's why I tend to play really aggressive when I have the control, and try to minimize the opportunities for my opponents.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice insight, nice insight. And when it comes to like the external stuff, you know, how do you set up your life and your like? Do you do anything special to get as much out of playing, if you know what I mean? Like, do you do something on the? I don't know how I don't know how I should explain this, but um, you know, because players have every player have like their own little routine when they're practicing or when they're supposed to play a very important game. Someone maybe just sits like closes their eyes and you know just thinks, or someone what's it called, meditates. You know, is there anything that you do? You know.
Not when I practice, because when I practice, I don't have any routines. I like to listen to music in between sets, um, and before my matches. Something that I probably that is a routine. Something that I do is that, because you have to wait until the admin just um, launches the game and things like that. When you have to wait, I listen to music, and sometimes I just watch some videos here and there in order to be a little bit not focused, just because I don't need to be nervous, and if I'm nervous, I just embrace the fact that I'm nervous. And sometimes, since I got in QPL, I just start to think that this is a regular thing, like a normal thing, that I need to compete and I have to show the best of myself. And I'm confident enough that I did all the work I needed during the week. So I'm confident that if I practice enough, or I I had quality practice during the week, everything is going to work on during the weekend. Sometimes it doesn't work, and of course you have to review your match and just make sure that doesn't happen again. But the only routine that I have when I'm competing is to listen to some music and watch some videos. But I like to listen is I just listen to the Biggies. Bee I think is the name.
Yeah, BG.
Uh, Bee and always staying alive is the first song. So that's a routine that I have. But I really like that. Because of course that's something that me and my fiance, that's a band that we really like. I mean, we like music from the 70s and 80s, so that's something to just I do in order to just be calm. It doesn't make me ready for the match, but I am ready already, because I've been warming up, so I feel ready, just in order to just not get my mind like stressed by the fact that I'm just waiting there. Let's just focus on another thing, enjoy the music, uh, and until I don't hear the buzzer, not the buzzer, the announcer that it says match begins in, I just press FNB because I know that those keys will turn the music off, and that's how I start.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, a pretty chilled approach, and wow, an approach you would expect, I suppose, if you look at how you play and well, how you look when you play, anyway. Um,
Yeah, well, you gotta remember that a lot of times a ton of things might happen that are out of your control, especially online, you know. So um, the approach that I have to do is that a ton of things might happen that those are out of my control. You gotta be chill. If it didn't work, it doesn't matter. You need to keep going. It happened like well, the match that I had against Kirill last Saturday. Um, of course, I just kept going the rest of the match. I just took deep embrace. He won Insomnia. I know that. Well, during the night, I was just reviewing my match, and it hurt a little bit because now just talking about my matches I are lost. Most of the matches I'm losing right now are really close, and it's like I have to have this mindset, positive mindset that I'm doing really good things. I'm struggling, so I prefer to be struggling than not than just winning and things like that. So it's like I'm preparing to be better. Uh, at least I'm just improving in order to get a better self for the finals. But it's like it hurts a little bit when I just rewatch my bots and I see my overall results, and it's like I lost against Senecu 3-0, and my matches were, except for the map 2 that I had like 8 frags different or 9 frag difference. Most of the maps I'm losing are for 1 frag, and sometimes it's like I prefer to be losing for 5, 6 frags because that was more convincing for my opponent, like a more convincing victory for my opponent. But when you're losing for 1 frag, there is something that I'm just struggling just to step over that and keep going
yeah.
and have like a different mindset that, because it's like I'm doing what I need to do, and probably there are a ton of things that I don't know yet, and that yet word is really powerful because probably the maxter that it was in 2020 isn't that smart like it is today. Of course, there are a ton of things that I didn't know, and if I try to look, I don't know, for example, if in a year I look backwards and try to just watch my matches that I just had in season 3, I might say, why I'm not pushing this thing if I know it's thing happened and I had this like free, or I had this route or path free, and I could go that way. That might happen over time, and that happens with time. You will learn with time, and that's something that I just can't skip. But what I say why it hurts the most is because I feel like I'm doing a good job during my matches, but I'm not getting the result. So that's why I'm in on this mindset that I prefer to be in this way of just struggling to in order to improve, because otherwise, imagine if you are like you have a different mindset and you are losing every time for just 1 frag. It's like it is really easy to just consumes you. It's like it drains you in some sort of way because it's like you train the whole week, you prepare for it, you analyze your opponent, and you lose for 1 frag, and then you on your overall set you lose 3-0 or 2-1, whatever the result is. It's like it's not reflective of the practice that you did during the week. It's not reflective of the work that you're doing. So that's why I think the kind of mindset that I get, and the kind of mindset that I try to have. Uh, it's necessary. Otherwise, I think that at this point, even if these are like 3 losses only for now, and I hope there are only 3 losses for the rest of the season. But I hope that these 3 losses might drain you a lot, and you can get frustrated really easily because when you are putting so much effort, sometimes you are not getting the results, and that really common. But it it how is the word? It needs a really powerful mind in order to just approach these moments, I think. And I think that the outcome that I will get from these results it's going to be much better than I am today.
Yeah, 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 and I can also understand that it's probably pretty frustrating because of the format that we have. Also, like you play one game a week, but you don't even play every week. You play. I think we talked about this actually on Discord when we first started talking, like how the QPL format can be. Yeah, it's obviously very nice, but it can also be frustrating. You practice a lot for a set, and then you lose it, and you can't play for another 2 or 3 weeks, because you might have an off game and an off week. I mean, and then there's challengers and so on, and so I can assume that life as a professional Quake player playing in the Pro League, it can be very what's it called? What's the word? Strenuous for your mental part, because you put down so much time into something and then you still don't win and you have to wait for so long until you can get your revenge.
Well, regarding that, since you already touched the subject, um, well, first of all, I will just answer this professional aspect and the mental aspect, and then we can go into the how the format is going and about
Yeah,
the matches that we get. In terms of the mental aspect, I think that the mental aspect is the most important thing as a professional player. Even if we are talking about games on esports and esports in general, I mean, uh, the mind plays a different game that your physique basically. It's like you can have the most powerful aim in this game. That doesn't mean that you can control yourself, that you can work with your nerves, with your feelings, uh, or how you as well. You need to have this mindset in order to just fight with those things that you can control, doing online and LAN as well. It's like if you go to esports, for example, if you just look at tennis, for example, you can see that always the same players are at the top, and the same players, all of them have like a really powerful mindset. Like they know that, for example, they got out of a tournament on round one, for example, and they are facing like, okay, this was a really bad match, blah blah. What they are not taking a day off at the next day. They are just analyzing what happened, and they are practicing. They're back to the court again, practicing, and making sure that don't happen again. It's like that doesn't happen again. I mean, it's I think that you can train whatever you want, but if you're not ready if your mind is not ready for these kind of things, I think that you are just wasting time instead of just spending time properly. Um, it's like, for example, you don't see on my camera every Saturday I'm like just hitting the table or doing this or that. Sometimes I do that because it is so much bullshit that is happening that that it might get into me. But there are players like they react so much sometimes, and it's like you can see it. You can see how it affects their game. Um, But there are players, for example, Racy and Banger. They are so fucking calm all the time, and you can understand why they are so good. I mean, they have like this mental part or this mindset, to just keep going, keep going, keep going. They are not thinking about what just happened. That's past. They are just keep going, keep going. Um, so I think that there might be probably really talented players out there on Quake as well, but there might be lacking of the mental aspect, and that is like something that will limit you in everything. It happens in every aspect of life. If your mental part is not working, you probably won't work on your 100%. How is the word? On your full potential, basically.
Yeah.
It happens with everything. Um, well, regarding the season 3 format, you want to add something to it to whatever I said, or just want me to jump to the format?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go.
Okay. Uh, well, the format now is a global format, which is amazing. I mean, it's amazing for me that I'm here in Denmark, of course. I mean, I have really good ping considering to NA, really good ping here in Europe regarding the service that I don't like so much, but still, really good ping. As the only thing that, or the only player that might not be enjoying the season is Nospa because he's alone in South America. But it will happen the same for both of us because the only time that we'll be able to play low ping will be against us. Only 3 maps, and then against the North Americans. Those are Sagib Chain, Dramis, and Rafa. So it means that only 4 maps during the whole season will be played on South America. So it's like it's a really good thing if you are playing again in between NA and Europe, but for the South America region, it's not as good, to be honest. Um, and in terms of how many matches that we get, the competitions that we get, how many times we can compete during this season. I mean, there are 18 weeks, but in reality, the whole season lasts like I think there are like 23 or 22. How many challenges there are? 8, right?
Uh, yeah, 8 challengers.
So it means that the whole season it's around 26 weeks.
Yeah, 26
So
weeks.
26 weeks. So it means that if you just gather the weeks that you don't play, basically we have 2 months that we don't play in a time that we are playing for around 6 months, and those 6 months you have 2 months that you don't play.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you don't play, for example, the community cups. You don't play the study cups or you don't play the tasty plains cups, and you have the challenges in between. So it means that, for example, in between the last Saturday that you play and the Saturday that you will play, so it means 2 weeks until your next competitive match. So it's like, okay, you need to prepare for your match. Yeah, of course, you will have to play. But if we are just trying to focus on the competitive aspect, you will wait 14 days until you compete again. So, I mean, I like the format. I really like the format. I gotta be honest with it. I mean, so far all the results were amazing. I mean, we had like really good upsets. Well, one of your players defeated three of the biggest fishes in the pool. So that's something amazing. I don't think that something like that would have happened if we just got locked in between regions like we used to have. It's like this kind of a group stage, global group stage that we have is more interesting than we used to have. Now because okay, Senaku now since he was playing here in Europe, but he was playing for the Americas group. Now he plays as well against the Europeans, and he has amazing results. the North Americans get to play Europeans, South Americans as well. So everyone's plays against each other, and that's amazing. The part that is not amazing for me is the fact that we have to wait too much in between matches, and if we don't compete in anything made by the community, it's like if you just start counting in between your last match and your next match, and you start adding those 14 days that you didn't compete. I'm not doing the math right now, but you have to do like, I don't know, it's like a lot of days that you are not competing, and I think that the format is really good, but I don't think that they need to do like this gap in between our official matches like they do now. We already have our bye weeks for that. I mean, having a free Saturday, it might be really good, but for that you ask for bye weeks, and having those being forced, in my opinion, is not that good. It's not good. Not that good. It's not good because it's like you're cutting the flow of the players. Like the players come with a trend, you're just cutting them with the competition. It's like, for example, just imagine that, for example, Dramis, that he defeated Banger, Racy, and Rafa, and just imagine that he had to play against the three of them back to back. That would have been really amazing, and probably he would just kept the same level of performance during the time, and probably he would have had better results against, for example, Kills and Nolsfa, because I think these gaps that we have in between official matches affect as well the performance that we are showing, because it's like a rest that you are having when you didn't reserve any, because you are in the middle of a competition, but you get to have a rest when you shouldn't. And beyond that, this is not onto them, but the suspensions as well made everything harder. It's like we there are weeks that we don't play, not because we don't have not because we have a bye week, but we have to play against them, and that means that we are not playing. So, for example, I will just give you this example that Avec now he has he had Challenger. Now he plays two suspended players in a row, challengers, bye weeks, and I think he plays one player that he's not suspended, challenger, and bye weeks. So basically he's not playing around 2.5 months.
Yeah.
It's like 2 months and a half without playing. It's like that's a lot, but of course that is like a mix in between bye weeks, suspended players, and challengers. I can understand if it is like just for bye weeks because you asked for them. That's on you. But with all these meets, it's like you are not competing at all. Your performance, of course, will be affected because you are not, even if you're practicing, probably you're not that focused for a next match. You're not practicing a set against a next player, things like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, yeah, and I think yeah, it does play a role in the players how they play, how they perform, like you said. But also you have to see it from the perspective that if you're an organization that want to pick up a player in Quake, uh, what do you want? You want exposure. You want a player that that gets seen.
Yeah.
That continuously plays. And being a professional Quake player right now, you don't play so much.
Mm-hmm.
If you compare it to like Counter Strike or other games where you compete more. So in that sense, QPL is also, I mean, in a certain sense, uh, affecting like the current format, right? It's like kind of also affecting um, the competitive side of the game. Like there's maybe not so many organizations that want to go into Quake right now because they scope it out and they see how often do these people play, or they don't play so often?
Well, it happened. I just read, sorry, on Reddit, for example, uh, and as well as this is like a genuine comment. It's not like someone is hating, but it's like with all these gaps, I lost track of Quake Pro League.
Yeah,
And that's true. I mean, it's not his fault because it's first of all the change between Sundays to Saturdays is a change that some people that they might just today is Sunday, I will just watch some Quake. They don't know what happened,
yeah,
and if they are not on social medias like Twitter, for example, they don't get to just know that the day was switched.
yeah,
uh, if they don't follow any pro player like on their streams or things like that, even if they follow, they might like just not tune in every Saturday because Saturday is a day some people are working as well, and as well probably it's not a day that you are just resting and watching Quake. Yeah, regularly. It's like if you ask me, for example, uh, what was the day that I watched the finals for PGL Antwerp. It was probably was in the finals, which it was Sunday. I was trying to just keep a track on the matches, but I couldn't do it during the week. So the Sunday was the day. So the same happened here. I know that this is something that is it was done behind the scenes, and it might be like there is a reason for it. I don't know it, and even if I do, I can't say it. But there might be a reason for that. Um, but I think it affects people that it affects the viewership. To be honest, um, to the players, not so much because we have a contract. So even if it is on a Wednesday, you have to show up. Uh, and as well, this lack of competition, as you said, uh, it makes players less attractive to be signed because I mean there is no competition, official competition, and if they get competition, these are community competitions. And if the organization wants to work with a sponsor, like I don't know, yes, I want to sign with Razer, for example. Okay, cool. Let's just talk about it. What kind of exposure you have, or what kind of players you have, what kind of teams you have. Well, I have a Quake team. These are pro players that they play in the Pro League. Oh, that's cool. What's the viewership that Quake Pro League has? Okay, how many days they compete? What's the exposure that you players get? There are a ton of questions that probably those are not that positive, to be honest, in terms of numbers uh, for big sponsors, of course. Um, and the lack of competition, I think it affects us the most because we for example, if you are a team, you tend to just cut footage or material from an official tournament. For example, if I want to just get something from Quake, for example, the official stream that looks like a professional stream, I don't want to take it from any. I don't want to take any effort from Shaptastic, for example. They do an amazing work, but if I want to just show it from for a sponsor, for example, it's like okay, you are just showing me a stream that was spectating a tournament, but it's not like the official stream for the tournament, and it's not like a professional thing. So it means like it looks like a low tier tournament. So it's not like the sponsor will not look at like a professional thing or something to look into it. So yeah, there are a ton of things that are around it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There is, and yeah, might be something that will improve in the future. Who knows? But of course, the situation it's a very special situation right now with the suspension of the players because it does take away many games. Um, but still, yeah, it is a good point. Anyway, we can't speak about it forever, even if you want to. Um, we're kind of uh, coming towards the end of the interview. We can't go on for forever, even if it's like
forever.
if it's I don't know how long we've been speaking for, but
I think we started like 2 hours ago.
yeah, like 2 hours probably. I can't look at the time right now, but I'll look later. Um, but one thing that I always ask every player is because you may not you may not think so yourself, but you have a lot
Uh-huh.
of fans and a lot of people who look up to you as a player. And I was wondering if you have any words for them and any what's your tip, to reach the top, to make it in Quake, because there are some people who really dream of becoming good in Quake. And what would your words to them be?
Um, I think I always say the same, but uh, if I qualify and I got to become a pro player with basically nothing, someone else can do it. I mean, there are a lot of players that they have a really good setup, uh, really low ping, things like that. I mean, in either case, you need to work hard for whatever you want in life. It is not only for Quake. It's not only for games. It happens in life in general. It's always like that. Uh, so if there are players out there that I know, there are a ton of talented players. Uh, but if they are willing to if they are willing to just work hard in order to achieve a goal, I mean, that's the only secret that we all share in between the pro players, probably. I mean, none of them were like, well, there were some of them invited, but they were competing prior to that, and they showed that they belong to the league, and if they are there, it's because they belong to the pro league. And there are players like, for example, Strong Stage, which is a rising player, and he's all the time practicing, 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 practicing. I can't recall when I was in Argentina, he was practicing, but his level was not as good as it is today. It was not even close to it is today. Of course, the guy needs more practice, of course, but he's doing it. He's practicing. He has the time for it, and he's going for it. He now is he will play the Quake World Championship. So I mean, he tried for I think 3 challengers until he got in. Really, he really deserved it. I mean, the guy is still practicing with the best all the time, and that's the secret. I mean, practice. Have the mindset to lose and keep practicing. I mean, I think the guy when he started as well, he had a bad computer, something like that. I think he had like 144 hertz, and now he upgraded to 40. So that meant like an increase in his performance as well. And the guy is doing it all the time. I'm afraid that he might just uh, have like a not an amazing performance as I would love to, as I would love that he would have in during I don't know a LAN event. I don't know in IRONFIST. But that's something that he will need to just get used to it because he practiced a lot with the top players, but most of the time he's on high ping. But he didn't have the same like his grounds are not based on low ping. Like for example, Nosfa and I, we were playing on high ping, but our our grounds, how we started to play, was on Quake Live, and we were playing on low ping all the time. So we already had the fundamentals. We knew how to play the game, and we made the switch in between Quake Live and Quake Champions the way that we needed. So I'm afraid that, and I'm scared that he has a problem or struggles during a LAN event. And if the mindset is like he has the proper mindset during a LAN event, he will do great, and I'm confident of that. But I think he just need to get like how is the word? Um, he needs the experience as everyone needs, of course, on low ping, because otherwise it's like, for example, now I know that he was playing CNZ today. He was practicing with him. Uh, he will face players that don't play that often, for example, like Avik, for example. Avik don't play that often, and he gets results, really good results. He knows how to do it because he has experience. So there you have a gap, like a really big difference in between someone that plays every day against everyone as much as he can versus someone that plays almost nothing or just a few matches during the week, and he gets really good results against the top players. And it's like he will start to need, like he will need to start like grinding, like in a smarter way. uh, when when you are in the league, it's a different thing because you will face nerves. The players don't tend to play the same as they are practicing. But I mean, he's almost there. It doesn't matter what I say, he's almost there. He's just too close to just get in the league. And that's a really amazing thing. I mean, if you ask me like 6 months before, or probably one year ago, probably now. But the guy showed us that he's willing to practice as much as he needs in order to just get his goal, and that's the kind of mindset that you get. I mean, the guy is really young. He's not afraid of anyone. He wants to practice against everyone, and that's it. I mean, uh, that's the kind of mindset that you can have. I mean, the guy didn't have a really good specs, neither did I. So I think that there are no excuses if you want to go pro, at least in this game.
Yeah, yeah. Very, very, very clever words and a very nice insight. But yeah, Strong Sage is definitely an interesting person. It's gonna be so cool to see how he plays in the World Championships. Um, just interesting because like yeah, he keeps beating CNC, for example, when they're practicing. Of course CNC beats him too, but he gets many matches against CNC as well, and I think whoever he practices with, he beats them too, you know, so he is
Yeah, he
capable of
takes
it.
yeah he takes maps from most of us. I mean, even from Rafa. I think he plays against Banger one of these days.
Yeah,
I think it was yesterday actually,
yeah,
and
yesterday.
he took a lot of maps from Racy. Well, on a study, he defeated Racy, Zenaku. I don't remember who else, but Dramis defeated Strandsage in the finals. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, it was actually my tournament. It was the
Ah,
open.
the DVE World Cup.
Yeah,
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 exactly. Uh, well, my bad, but well, the tournament went that way. I
yeah,
mean, the guy knows how to do it, but I mean, he's doing whatever he needs to do. He's doing it, and if one guy can do it, everyone can do it.
yeah,
It's like that.
yeah. It's true. It's true. It sounds simple, but it's how it is.
I mean,
Yeah,
this simple part is saying it that you need to work hard.
yeah,
The really hard part is that you have to do it,
yeah,
and that's where a lot of people just stop. It's like, no, I just lost 20-0. That's how you start. That's how it begins.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So true. So true. Okay, okay, Maxter. So, is there anything that you feel like you wanted to say that you haven't been able to say in this interview?
Uh, to be honest, well, you said I have fans. Okay, I if I have some, okay, that's really amazing. Um, I have some messages here and there, to be honest, from them, and that's really amazing. That's really helpful. Sometimes there I get messages when I lose, and that's really amazing. Uh, those are the most that I value the most, because of course everyone will congratulate you when you win. But I appreciate the most those are when I lose, because it's really it's really amazing. Because I remember one sentence that everyone is with you when you're winning, but you are alone when you're losing, and that's something that I just learn how to appreciate those that show up when I lose, and those are the real supporters, to be honest. Because of course, I appreciate the fact that everyone that writes me loved how I play and things like that, and that's really amazing. But those kind of messages when you are not at your best, those are the best in order to encourage you to keep going.
Mm. Yeah, that's for sure. So yeah, if you're someone who really supports a player, if you have like a if you're a fan of a player in QPL and you see them uh, play, maybe they lose or something, or yeah, write them a message because it does probably mean a lot to them, you know, just to see that stuff and when they're down bad and stuff. Because let's be honest, right after you've lost, it kind of feels dark, you know. But you just need some time to recover. But to get a message in that situation, it can mean a lot for some players, or actually for most players, I think. So yeah, absolutely. Well, Maxter, so it's been a pleasure. Like I said, I don't know how long we've been going for, but I suspect it's been
Two
quite some
hours
time.
or something, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a new record. My interview with Racy was like 2 hours and a minute. I don't know
Oh
if
my
this
god.
is longer or
Now
not.
this is longer, I think, because we started at 6:13, probably 6:18, and now
Yeah.
it's 8:25. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's just amazing how time just fucking flies by, you know, when you it's been super interesting. Like I really like that you gave such insightful responses. It's what I want, you know, when I make this. I guess
I told you that I like to speak, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I know. I heard it and I accepted it. So it's nice. It's nice. Um yeah, like once again, I want to thank you so much for wanting to do this. Um, I'm planning to do this with a lot of players, or I'm gonna start with the top players. But I'm always happy when someone accepts, because I don't know how people will respond yet. I've just asked for people so far. Everyone said yes so far, but we don't know in the future.
I mean, I first of all I appreciate the opportunity. It was a really fun talk, and hoping for the next talks that you have, because I watched them. I mean, I watched the one with Garpis, Seneca, and Racy so far.
Yeah,
I mean, there are three only.
yeah,
I watched them, so those were interesting. I mean, if you really like the players, or do you want to have a deeper perspective from the players, these are really amazing uh, footages that you have. I mean, like what you're doing is a really good thing.
Mm. Thank you, thank you. It means a lot to me to hear that. I enjoy making them. It just comes naturally. Like it doesn't take any energy from me to sit like this and just speak, because it just feels so natural for some reason. You and
It's
me,
like it's just meeting another person. It's like
yeah,
you ask genuine questions. I mean, there were questions that you already knew the answers, but you got like a deeper insight of them.
yeah,
So that's a really good thing.
yeah. It really is. It really is. So yeah, I love doing it. Uh, any last words from you? Just I will give you that chance.
Uh, no, I don't have any. Just be aware that there might be something on Twitter soon. So those might be really good things. And just hoping for the future. I mean, IRONFIST is coming, probably any other land soon. So that will be a really bright future for Quake.
Yeah, yeah, you heard it here, guys. You heard it here first. Look, keep your eyes on Twitter, because Twitter is a good platform. There's a lot of news. A lot of stuff gets released on Twitter. So if you're not on Twitter and you're a Quake fan, you should be on Twitter, because, like I said, a lot of stuff happens there. Anyway, Maxter, thank you so much, and
Thank
I'm
you so
gonna
much.
say thank you to everyone who's watching, supporting the series. I've been getting a tremendous amount of support for the series since I started. Like I said, it's a super simple concept, doesn't take much energy from me. So I just love that people just appreciate the raw material because it's not edited in any way. It's just 2 hours of just pure talking, and that just means that we have so many passionate people who actually care about the players or the people behind the nicknames, not only the players. So yeah, once again, thank you so much to everyone who's been watching, and thank you for watching this episode. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one. It's probably gonna be up in next month because I'm planning to release one every month. And thank you, Maxter, once again for the 100th time.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you, thank you.
and yeah, that's it. See you guys next time.